Hi Carl, Ken, and I want to show you what's happening here, and it's probably not going to occur now because it happens like once every 2 hours. 37848 is the tag number showing Carl, attempting to show Carl the noise. What we're looking at, Carl, is in the upper, let's see if I can get my hand over here. There's my hand. There's two horizontal fluorescent displays. The upper one represents your left channel, the lower one your right channel, and that's the noise level. Over here is a dual trace oscilloscope, which also has the upper display is your left, the lower is your right. Very intermittently, the left channel will crackle, and sometimes it's inaudible, sometimes it's audible. I know it's on the driver board because I've swapped the left and right driver boards, and it goes over to the right channel. So what I'm going to do is let you see how crazy it is to be a technician who repairs vintage audio. I believe YouTube has a 15-minute limit, so we're going to let this go for 15 minutes and see if this noise occurs. I'd be very pleased if it does, but it probably is not going to. But trust me, I have seen it and heard it. The noise sounds like if you were in your car listening to AM radio and a thunderstorm was approaching, you would hear that type of static. And that's what the noise sounds like. That usually occurs at the very beginning of the amplifier stage in what's called the differential area. And I have replaced the two transistors in the differential amplifier, and I believe the noise was still there. I have heated this with a heat gun and cooled it with a cooling agent. This is a technique used to find intermittent problems by thermally shocking them, and that has not made the problem more evident. So this is where I like to involve the customer, and we'll sit here and watch this and listen to it and see if it misbehaves. But true to form, we're into this thing now for almost 3 minutes and it has not misbehaved. So what we'll do is we'll run the whole 15 minutes and hopefully it will misbehave. And in the meantime, I'll just let you know the overall status of the item. It's beautiful. I've gone through it from front to rear. As is the case with most of these vintage items, people have been in here prior to me. The original game plan was to replace all the electrolytic capacitors in the regulated power supply and both of the audio driver boards. I was able to save you some money in that area because someone has been in here previously and replaced some of the electrolytic capacitors. 2 or 3 were incorrect, and incorrect meaning their voltages were too low. In one instance, the original capacitor was an 80-volt cap, and whoever was in there put in a 50-volt cap. Now, sometimes you can get away with that if the manufacturer overly designed it. And good design practice is to run these parts at about 80% of their value. So if the circuit has 50 volts, has 40 volts on it, you put a 50-volt cap in there, plus or minus. So whoever was in here previously, one or more people, they replaced these caps, these 80-volt caps with 50-volt caps. Just for the heck of it, I actually measured the voltage across these caps because the item obviously was working with them in there even though they were not 80-volt caps. The voltage across the caps was 51.9 volts. So it was within tolerance because obviously those caps did not blow up, but that's just poor design. So the caps I put in are rated at 100 volts to replace that. And that is typical of some of the things I found in this item. There were some screws missing, internal hardware missing. I've replaced that for you. The incandescent lamps for the meters, they use blue filters, which someone had replaced one with a green filter. The others were melted. I was able to get 4 of the original blue filters for the lamps. So that looks good. And what are we into this now? 5 minutes, 45 seconds and no noise. Oh, we're going to go the whole 15 minutes and there'll be no noise. But I like to involve you guys, and so I'll keep talking. I got 10 minutes more to talk. What else can I tell you? Resoldered the entire regulated power supply board. The board that has the, I'll call it the main power supply board, which also has the soft turn-on relay and the speaker relay. By the way, the speaker relay was not the original. Someone had replaced that with an acceptable relay, but it was real clear that that's not the original relay. So resoldered both of those boards, resoldered both of the audio driver boards, probably 250, 300 connections. Of course, all switches and controls have been deoxidized. I use a 2-step process to do that. I use 2 different chemicals. DC offset, DC bias have been adjusted. Phono stages have been checked out. It's just a beautiful, beautiful amp. It rivals the 3 of these which I own. And I just wish this noise would occur while I'm trying to show it to you, so you know I'm not crazy. But such is the life of the vintage electronics technician. Guaranteed, if you take this back with you, it may play fine for a day, a week, a month, 6 months, a year, but that noise, I saw it and I heard it and I know it's there, and I am almost certain I have not found the cause of it. But as you can see, it's not going to be real easy to find. That's why I'm going through the trouble of making this demonstration for you. Let's see, we're into this now about 7 minutes, 45 seconds, and no noise. Woo, what else can I tell you about this? Otherwise, it's in pretty great shape. Good for another 100,000 miles. I don't know what else to say, but I got to ad-lib for another 7 minutes, huh? Okie dokie. Of course, all the output transistors were pulled, and all the old dried up heat conducting compound was removed. New heat conducting compound has been installed on all the output transistors, all the audio driver transistors, and the DC pass transistors in the power supply, which also use heat conducting compound, which was dried up. Alright, what else can I tell you about this? That's pretty much everything. Oh, the front panel was pulled off. I had to remove the front panel to get to some of the boards in the back, which actually have to be pulled out of the item to properly deoxidize the switches and controls. While I had the front panel out, the glass that's in front of the meters was cleaned. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful amplifier. And I'd feel much better if that noise occurs so that we can find it. But of course it's not going to. Let's see, we got 9 minutes into this. Why don't I means I only have to talk for 6 more minutes. Okay. Hey about those Yankees, huh? And my friend Cheater the Cheater. Yeah. You see how a week or two ago he showed up an umpire. It was an inside pitch and it hit the end of his bat, but he faked it, made it look like it hit him, and he was awarded first base. But after the game was over, he kind of gloated and said, "Oh, it never hit me. It hit the bat." Well, you know, who am I to tell Jeter what to do? But you don't show up the umpire, and that umpire and all the others are going to remember him down the road for doing that. All right, what else can I ad-lib here about? 10 minutes, 17 seconds. I got to go another 4.5 minutes. We talked about Jeter. What else can I tell you? I already told you everything about the amp. It's gorgeous. Cool as a cucumber. Runs full power into 4 and 8 ohms at the rate of distortion. Of course, the noise isn't going to do it. 11 minutes in, no noise. So what I'm going to do, Carl, is I'm going to email you this YouTube video. You know what? I'm even going to call you on the telephone just to give you a heads up about the video and see what you want to do about tomorrow. You can come and get it, bring it home, and if it misbehaves, then you're going to have to pay me a visit again. And I don't want that to happen. I try to respect your time, and it is a considerable drive for you, so I'll stay here all night and wait for this noise to occur, but it's not happening. And what else can we talk about? The Giants, they're not doing that good. "12 minutes, Carl, no noise." Okay, what else are we going to talk about? Oh, if you're coming up here, why don't you bring up something else? No sense driving all this way for nothing. You could exchange something and give me something else to do for you. Sold a beautiful Sansui G8000 receiver a couple weeks ago. A guy abandoned it from California, and a local guy, he bought a Sansui 9090 dB, paid like a little over $5 for it, bought it off of eBay. When it got to his house, it ran for half an hour and went up in smoke. His buddy's been doing business with me for years, sent him over here. I looked at it real quick. I said it's going to cost many hundreds of dollars to remedy. Why don't you get your money back, and I'll show you a better receiver. And that's the G8000 he bought, and he loves it. 13 minutes. I'll ad-lib for another minute and a half here. When he came to pick it up, we demoed it with a... at that time I had a pair of JBL professional speakers here that belonged to a fraternity at UConn. And the bass was so... it's 120 watts a channel. The bass was so clear and so loud. He was standing about 4 to 5 feet in front of one of the speakers. And the bass, the wind from the speaker, the air in motion from the speaker was making his pant leg move. Oh my God, what a beautiful receiver, and performed really well. He's very happy with it, and he learned his lesson about eBay. Alright, Carl, that's about it. 14 minutes is enough. I'll cut this now and send this to you. I'll also give you a phone call, a heads up on this, okay?